Welcome to the episode of Crime Talk. I hope the whole family is well and taking care of themselves. Today's story is about a bank robbery in which the thieves didn't think about how to steal. This was the initial part of their planning. They spent most of their time and their brains thinking about how to steal the money from the bank and how to get the money back after a certain time. This story is about 26 years old. And at that time, that is 26 years ago, the biggest problem in the history of America was to rob a bank. More than that, no money was robbed from a bank, which was robbed then. September 12, 1997. This is the story of Los Angeles. In Los Angeles, a bank run by a Dunbar Armored company. Dunbar. This is also famous by this name, as you must have seen many banks, ATMs. They have a cash van on the ATM where security guards sit with a gun inside and outside. And after going to every ATM, they transfer the cash. Many banks collect money from banks in the evening and take it to special places. So this is the use of cash vans. In Delhi, 2.5 crore rupees were looted from a cash van. I have told you the story. So, a Dunbar Armored company, cash van, their job was to take the cash from different banks and then take the cash to the place where it had to be deposited. In Los Angeles, this same Dunbar company cash van had an office. It was a single-floor building. Whenever big cash came from a big place, they would come in a van and then into the office. They would transfer money from somewhere else. There were different bags of money. So, there was a kind of a hall. You have to bring money from one place to another. Then you have to transfer it to the cash van. Then you have to go ahead. So, this was a Dunbar Armored company. They supplied cash vans and their carriages. So in this company and in this building of Los Angeles, a person used to work. His name was Allen Pace. Allen Pace was working here for a long time, and he was the regional safety inspector of this building. So he was in charge of taking care of the vehicles, making sure that no accidents happen, and that no one gets robbed on the way. His safety and security, and the entire responsibility of this building's safety and security was Allen Pace's, because he was the regional safety inspector here. He worked in this place for a long time. Then one day he kept seeing that there were a lot of cash. He noticed very fine things. Until then he had no bad thoughts in his mind. But he knew when the cash van comes, how it is unloaded, where the bags are kept. How many notes are in which bag? Small notes, big notes. For him, there are different bags. Different marks how long it takes to transfer, how to go forward, how to go back. Where are the go back? Where are the guards? I mean, every single thing from the map, every little single thing from the mind of Allen Pace. And that's when he realized that he had so much knowledge about this building that he could easily build a wall here. So he started looking at the time and place where he could easily steal money. When is the most cash? Which bag is it in? Where is the bag kept? During that cash time, during the day, in the morning, afternoon, evening, night, how many guards are there? How many people are there in the cafeteria? How many are there at the gate? How many cars are there? He noted down all these things one by one. Then he felt that looting could be done here. But not alone. Now he started the second phase of his conspiracy. He chose 5 of his childhood friends who were in different cities in America. And they had all become different. They were all cutting their lives off. But they were in contact with each other. He chose his 5 friends who needed money and had a loan on them. He thought that these friends would be the most profitable. He called 5 friends to Los Angeles. He had a meeting with them and told them about his plan for the first time. He said that Dunbar Arms Cash Van's building, which is their headquarters, has crores of rupees in one time. Since he was a regional safety inspector, he said, I will make a place for you. Then he slowly hired 5 friends in the same building. Now after this, they gradually did all the things, all the rackeys, all the blueprints of every floor, where the camera is installed, where, what, how many cards are there. They started telling each and everything to all 5. Gradually, all 5 of them also got to know everything. Now after that, it was that on which day, on weekends, on weekdays, when does the cash get spent? So the whole research about that was waiting for it. So while doing all this, there was another thing that was not decided before, that on which day we will rob the bank or the money kept in that building, it will be the same day when there will be a lot of cash. So there was no planning of the date. Suddenly, it was the same 12th September 1997. And on that day, on the day of 11th September, this company told the employee to leave. The reason for this was that the cash van was an allegation of cheating. Some people saw that Allen Pace was cheating with the cash van's cars. So this was a security breach. So the company called him and said that you don't need us anymore. You can go. Now this notice was given to Allen Pace that day. He is not coming from tomorrow. Allen Pace leaves from there and goes to his home. After this, the other 5 friends return in the evening. Everyone meets at night. After that, they reach a place in La, a party. They drink there. There was a lot of crowd. Friday night. So generally, there is more crowd on Friday night because the weekend has started after the party. They decide to go back to the same place. After that, they come back at 12 o'clock in the same building of the cashman because the 5th was still on the job. He was called that day by the staff. So it was not that he was stopped on his arrival. He came there, and these people came straight from the party. The timing was such that one shift was over and the second shift guard came there. The guards would change at 1 a.m. They would arrive at 12 a.m. After reaching there, most of the guards were in the cafeteria, eating. They took with them tape, gun, walkie-talkie. They would contact each other. They closed all the guards with duct tape. They put them on one side of the gunpoint. And then Allen Pace knew which bag has the big and small notes. After that, they put the bags in different bags. There was a truck outside, which was their cash van. So there was a truck standing there. They put the bags one by one in it. Because they already knew about all the cars in London, they had already worked there. It takes them half an hour. Within this half an hour, they, from that building, at that time, $18.9 million, which is around 1.5 billion Indian rupees. So you can say 1.5 billion rupees. They put it in the truck. Before leaving, Allen knew where the CCTV cameras were. He destroys all the cameras. He takes out the hard disk because he knew he was a regional safety inspector, and he took it with him. They didn't leave any proof there. They were all wearing masks, so no one could recognize them. Now, since Allen used to work there, he wasn't saying anything. After this, they all took the truck and left. After some time, when the shift was about to start, they all came and saw that everyone had their hands and feet tied. Then they rang the alarm and the police came. Now the police started the investigation. They didn't find anything there, just a broken light from a cash van. So they had guessed that this was used for theft. Now the investigation started, but there was no sign. All the footage of the CCTV camera was destroyed. The hard disk thief took it with him. Now who are these people? The first thing that was clear, the first day that whatever could have happened, this is the hands of the insider. Because such detailed information can only be of an insider. No one can come from outside and steal. When the investigation took place, it was found that this company had fired Allen Pace from the job. So the marriage was suspected that he had stolen the money to take revenge. The investigation was carried out by Allen Pace. After stealing from the company, they took money from the truck. They dumped it somewhere. Other 5 friends were also involved, and these 5 people reached their homes. and after reaching their homes, they go to the same party where the party key was held. Now, because the party key was held there, and the party was going on till late night, everyone was drunk, and after drinking, they were not in their senses, meaning there is a gap of 1 to 1.5 hours in between. Now, they go there and start the party again. They sing, they dance, they sing among those people. Now, the investigation is going on here. So, there was doubt on the Allen Pass. The police team went and asked where I was. He said that he was in the bar partying. When we went there, we found out that these people were there. So they didn't investigate the stolen goods so honestly, but there was a doubt on the alien base. So they kept an eye on it. But there was no thief or evidence. Time was passing slowly. When the thieves were not found, the police and the FBI decided to sit quietly and watch the drama. They said that there is no small amount the thief has become a rich man. He will not spend money. Keep an eye on people who became rich suddenly, people who bought big houses, people who changed their lifestyle suddenly, people who bought expensive cars, people who are doing parties. Keep an eye on people like that. One of them was Allen Pasco. He is living his normal life. He is living in the rented house. He is wearing the same clothes. He is not going to a more expensive place. 6 months have passed. His routine has not changed. Now FBI has found out what is going on. What did these people do? They had some other 6 friends. They included some of these friends in this conspiracy, which is not to be exposed. These people contacted an immigration lawyer in Los Angeles. He trusted the lawyer and gave him $1 million. He said, "This is $1 million. You have to help us." The lawyer asked what he wanted to help. He said, "We have money." And he told the whole story after he trusted him. He was threatened that if he opened his mouth, it would be a disaster. The lawyer was greedy and asked what he meant. He said, $1 million is for free. He took the money. Now, the lawyer, in his clever way, the money from the bank and the loot, they started investing it separately. As a priceless property, as it is their own, that it is mine, but I am buying it in someone else's name. So they started investing in most of the property, some in cars, some in the share market, and they were also shown to issue checks in their name. They were also shown to work in their own companies, and they were also paid salaries. So everything became white, and this is also a solid proof that they are not doing anything wrong, because this lawyer had prepared all the papers genuinely for them. Everything was going on, but 2 years passed. In 2 years, people had a lot of fun, and there was no change in their behavior. He kept searching, but couldn't find any clue. 2 years later, one of the 5 members of the Allen Pasco family, it was a complete plan to pay more attention to how to spend money. They were taking property in the name of their lawyer and other relatives and friends. Similarly, one of the 5 friends bought a property through another friend 2 years later and asked him to give the money to the property dealer. He gave all the money in one go. The friend made a mistake, and it was worse than that. When he gave the money to the property dealer, you must have seen on the banknotes that if there is a car, which is also in our country, there is a bank slip, the paper is lifted, the card is there, and there is a stamp on it. The bank that they had robbed, around $18.9 million at that time. There was a paper on every car of that bank, and there was a stamp of the bank on it. When this robbery happened, the news came in the newspapers. Okay. At that time also, it was that $18.9 million was stolen. There is no news in the media because the company's branch will also be damaged by this. So this was said that around $5 million was stolen. The rest of the truth came later. At that time, we knew that this serial number is not a serial number, but it was written on the car of every bank. Now, the police and all the other people, the property dealers and others had told them. So, one of Allen West's 5 friends gave the car to one of his friends to buy the property. He had a card on those cars. and that friend gave the card to the property dealer in the dark. When the property dealer saw the car carefully, he saw that it was a Dunbar company, his pawn. And he remembered that the police came to him and asked him to inform us if he had bought a property and had a card attached to it. After 2 years, the property dealer called the police and said that a person came to him and was buying the property. He gave him the car and had this card attached to it. The foreign police team reached him immediately after the arrest. He opens his mouth. Then he tells the name of his friend. Then he tells the name of the other 4 friends. And after that, the name of Allen comes up. So 6 people are arrested one by one. After the arrest, we get to know that they spent money there. They had robbed around $19 million. The total amount of money that was made was $5 million. No one paid any other $14 million for this. Or where should they keep it? No one paid for it because all the cash was there. After this, the case was passed. The court sentenced Allen Pasco to 24 years in prison. Another friend of his who had a gun sentenced him to 17 years. The rest were sentenced to 8 and 10 years. Everyone was sent to jail, but the mastermind of these 5 people who were punished the most was Allen Pace. After this punishment, everyone went to jail. The rest of the things were relieved, but in the end, Allen Pace was released from jail in 2020 after fulfilling his punishment. After coming out, he sold many of his stories. A film is also being made on him. But even today, no one knows where the remaining $14 million is. And they say that maybe they will never get it. Because to rob this bank, to rob these money, Allen worked harder on how to steal the bank, and after the theft, where to deposit the money and how to spend it. This would be challenging, and if a friend hadn't left the note and the bundle, then they wouldn't have been caught, but even today. There is a challenge for the FBI to find out the rest of the bank robbery, the $14 million, although it's been almost 26 years now, but still no clue has been found. So this was the story of the bank robbery in America, which was the biggest robbery in the history of America in terms of cash.